Hello everyone, this is Mark here at Garrett's Guitars in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I'm here to make a little video about distortion and amp distortion mostly, in ways that your amp distorts and why your amp distorts well or not well, and in what situations. And there's a lot of things to get to, so I'm going to get to it. I'm going to break it down to 4 types of basic distortion: preamp distortion, power amp distortion, transformer distortion, and speaker distortion. So let's talk about those things. I have an amp that is out of its case, and so I'm going to use it as a visual aid and do some pointing and talking. So let's go. Alright, let's get into it. This is the chassis from Blues Jr. It's a nice simple Fender style chassis. The signal flow goes this direction, and we'll start off with our preamp section represented by these 2 tubes. Signal comes in, goes here. Generally speaking, these amps have, sometimes the second preamp can do more gain. Sometimes it does an additional channel. Sometimes it runs the reverb. Though on this, I think the reverb is that chip runs the reverb, vibrato, whatever the cause. To get the first channel, the first stage of distortion to happen, you have to send a particularly hot signal to the amp. This can be hot pickups, and this can be a preamp. This can be the makeup gain on a pedal, so to take the guitar's signal and trick the amp by thinking it's a more powerful thing. By juicing it up, that gives us first stage preamp distortion. That is something that we associate with, like hot pickups, for example. Not quite, and it's pretty subtle as far as distortion goes. It's not going to be like your tube screamer for sure. That's designed, so that's something that happens outside your amp, and that's designed to to create a lot of overdrive and then send it to this. This can be whisper quiet and still represent the same thing. But to push this hard, you push everything down the line a little harder too. So let's talk about that. If you crank the volume on your amp, this is your power stage, and you're going to create power stage distortion. That tends to be a little more raspy, a little more what's the word? Kind of like a Marshall sound. Marshalls are more famous for their power stage distortion sound. So pushing this hard this way. So this tube is the phase splitter. It just it's a mild preamp. It splits the phase between these two. Takes the signal, splits it in half, reverses the phase on one, and these two tubes work in a push-pull pair. So when these tubes are overworked, they make that power tube distortion sound. Let's go have a look over here for number 3. This is there's 2 transformers on most tube amps: the power transformer and the output transformer. Power transformer, self-explanatory. AC from the wall comes in, it transforms into different voltages and sends it here, turns into DC, uses it, and your end result is the output of your power tubes, which is high impedance, and we got to change that into a low impedance, high wattage signal, and that's what this does. So when this particular, when the transformer creates distortion, is when it's overworked, maybe a little underrated. It's more of a square wave. It just kind of blah, 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 it kind of forgets what it's doing, or kind of skips some windings or something. And it's a different kind of distortion for sure. That's the distortion that people like to get out of little amps often. Those little amps that you crank up, a lot of times they have very underrated power transformers. If you don't want distortion, then some people upgrade their output transformer. As I say power transformer, I meant output transformer. If you don't want distortion, you can upgrade your output transformer to give you a cleaner, more representative sound. This blurs up your sound for sure. And then here, representing the last stage, we have a speaker, because speaker distortion is when the speaker itself is malfunctioning because of because just getting too much signal. That happens when the actual speaker can overextend in one direction or the other, and it just kind of runs out of room to roam. Speaker distortion also happens with, over time, with damage to the surround, damage to the cone, getting a softer cone over time, just from use. Kind of makes it, comb and tissue paper. You've heard the stories of people ripping holes in their speaker to get additional speaker distortion. The voice coil, which is the moving coil at the center of this, that is activated by the output there. It can sometimes rub just a little bit, or it can run out of throw a little bit and just malfunction in cool and weird ways. So that's speaker distortion, output distortion, power tube distortion, preamp distortion, and add them all up and you get a lot of distortion. Thanks for watching. We have a lot of videos here on YouTube. We do a live show once a week. Subscribe, like, and all that stuff. We gotta say it just because sometimes you forget. Check out all of our stuff there on Instagram, Gary's Guitars USA. Anywhere you do your social thing, hopefully we're there with you. Thanks for watching.